Okay. A very good evening to everyone. Today we are going to our start our class with the new topic and the new unit of the biology. As you know, we have already discussed in the previous class that we are having the two major units. We are having the two major units in 12th class biology. That first is the genetics, which we have already discussed in the previous classes. We have also done the previous year questions of those topics. Today, now we are going to start with the ecology, the next major unit of the 12th class biology. So in the ecology, we are going to discuss today the first chapter, that is organism and populations, previous year questions. So before starting this session, just let me know through the technical poll whether I'm audible and visible to you properly or not. Okay, so here is the poll. Please give your feedback that I'm audible and visible to you or not. Okay, great. So everything is okay. Let's start with our today's class. So in our today's class, we are going to, as I already said, we are going to discuss the previous year questions related to the organism and population chapter. So here is our first question. The first question says, the niche is, now in out of the given four options, we have to find the first or the one correct statement which can perfectly describes the niche, right? So your option A says all the biological factors in the organism's environment. B, the physical space where an organism lives. C, the range of temperature that the organism needs to live. And D option says the functional role played by the organism where it lives. Okay, so give your answer. You have to feed the answer in this poll. So here is the technical MCQ poll I'm launching. Please give your answer through this poll. And those who are not able to give their answer through the poll can give their answer in chat box. Okay, so poll will be ended in next 5 seconds. Okay, great. So as everyone has already given their answer, so this is their answer. So yes, so everyone has marked for the option D. Yes, that's right. The option D says the functional role played by the organism where it lives is a niche. As we have discussed it earlier, that in an ecosystem, we have in a particular geographical region, we have two places. One is habitat and one is niche. Everyone get confused between the habitat and the niche, right? Because both of them are present in the same geographical region, and in both places the organism lives. But the main difference between the habitat and the niche, the main difference between the habitat and the niche is the habitat is a place where an organism lives, where it survives. But niche is a place where it performs work, right? Where it performs its functional duty. For example, like you are staying at your home, you are living at your home. So that means you are present at a habitat. But when we go for the workplace, such as your schools, where you have to go and perform your function, that is studies. So we can say, yes, that is your niche. So example for habitat is what? Yes, home. And the example for niche is the school, right? So everything is clear as everyone has already given the correct answer. Let's move to the next question. The next question is, the nematophores occur in. Everyone knows what nematophore is. Nematophore is an anti-gravity or negative geotrophic roots which are growing upwards from the marshy regions, right? This will help you to answer the question. Your options are A, halophytes, B, free floating hydrophytes, C, carnivorous plants, and D, submerged hydrophytes. Okay, so for this question, your poll is here. Please give your answer. Your poll will remain for 20 seconds and your time starts now. Okay, the last 10 seconds are left. In next 10 seconds, I'm going to close the poll. Okay, great. So I'm ending the poll. As everyone has given their answer. So let's check. As I said, pneumatophores are the cone-shaped, spooky roots which are having the negative geotropism, right? They are growing against the gravity in a they will take the U-turn from the ground and grows, right? So these conditions are the marshy areas, right? The marshy areas where we have the waterlogging, and we know wherever the waterlogging is taking place, the concentration of salt increases. They are found in marshy region, right? So in marshy region, we have waterlogging, and that waterlogging causes the high salt concentration, right? Sorry, that causes the high salt concentration. And due to the high salt concentration, that particular habitat become the halophytes. Okay, so pneumatophores usually found in the halophytic condition, or we can say these pneumatophores are the halophytes. Okay, so answer to this question is option A. Okay, next, now move to the next question, our question number 3, which says plants which produces characteristic pneumatophores and show vivipary belongs to, right? The term says vivipary. That means the seeds started germinating on the branch itself without getting in contact with the soil. So these plants who are pneumatophores in the nature are vivipary. Okay, so they belong to option A, halophytes, B, cematophytes, C, hydrophytes, and D, mesophytes. So this again, your poll is here, and this poll will remain for 20 seconds again. You have to give your answer. So we are talking about the plants who are having the pneumatophores and shows vivipary. They belong to which region? I am repeating your options. Option A, halophyte, B, samophytes, C, hydrophytes, and D, mesophytes. Okay, so last 5 seconds left for closing the poll. Okay, so I'm closing the poll as everyone has already given their answer. So, as in the previous question, we have just discussed the pneumatophores are the roots, right, which are having negative geotropism, and they are found in marshy region. That is why we have used the answer halophyte. So yes, we can also say those plants are also halophytic in nature. So yes, who have chosen the option A is correct, right? So option A is correct, not the option B and C. Option A is correct. Okay. Now, moving to our next question, that is question number 4. The question number 4 says, the presence of plants arranged into the well-defined vertical layer. Here we are arranging the plants in a vertical layer, the tallest one. As we move from left to right, the size or the height of the trees are getting decreased, right? As you can see, a steep slope is forming in a decreasing order. So such kind of plants are usually seen best in which region? Option A, tropical rainforest. Option B, grasslands. Option C, temperate forest. And option D says tropical savanna. Okay, so for this question, your poll is here. Give your answer in 20 seconds. And those who are not able to answer in poll can give their answer through the chat box. Okay, so give your answer fast. I'm going to close the poll. Okay. Okay, Kalburgi, the option C is not the correct answer, beta. As you know, the tropical rainforest are the region where we find the diversity. We find the diversity, right? We found the varieties of plants. So wherever we have the rich biodiversity, only there we can get these stratification of the plants, right? So this stratification is not found in temperate forest, because in temperate region the temperature is continuously changing, the climatic conditions are continuously changing, so there we don't find the variety in a biodiversity. So answer will remain the A, the tropical rainforest, because there we are getting the proper amount of moisture along with the unchangeable, or we can say the constant environment. Okay. So now moving towards the next question. Is it clear to you now? Okay. So here is the next question. The next question says, it is much easier for a small animal to run uphill than for a large animal, because we have to do the comparison between the small animal and the large animal here. For that, we have given the 4 different statements. You have to find out the correct statement among the 4. So option A says small animals have a lower oxygen requirement. Option B says the efficiency of muscles in large animals is less than in the small animals. Option C, it is easier to carry a small body weight. And option D says the smaller animals have a higher metabolic rate. Okay. So for this question, I'm launching the poll again. You can give your answer in this poll. Okay, try to give your answer. Here in this question, we are asking why the small animals capable to run the uphill as compared to the larger animals, right? Okay, okay. So you have chosen the option A. Let's see. See, for moving the uphill, we require a large amount of energy, right? And the energy formation only increases when you have the high metabolic rate, right? So high metabolic rate is the main reason behind the small organism to run uphill faster as compared to the larger or animals, because as the complexity of an organism increases, the metabolic rate gets slows down. Okay, so we can say the option D among the 4 is a correct answer, which says the smaller animals have a higher metabolic rate, right? Because it is not like that. Okay, the small animals require low oxygen and the bigger organism require high oxygen. It is all about the metabolism, or we can say the catabolic process through which we are producing the high amount of energy. Okay, so for this question, answer is D. Okay, now move to the next question. The next question is question number 6, which says an association of individuals of different species living in the same habitat and having functional interaction is known as, right? Here we are talking about all the different types of living species. That means we are only talking about the interaction between the living organism and the what? The environment within a same habitat. So you have to find out the correct answer. Your option A, ecosystem. Option B, population. Option C, ecological niche. And option D says biotic community. Please keep this thing in mind that in this question, we are only talking about the different living species. So according to that, what is your correct answer? So for giving your answer, here is the poll. Okay, now I'm going to end the poll. Give your answer. Okay, so the answer is the biotic community. Okay, an association of individual of different species living in the same habitat. The habitat is same. The functional interaction place is same. So that area is known as the biotic community. We are not taking the ecosystem as a correct answer or ecological niche as the correct answer, because ecosystem is an interaction between the living and the non-living component, or we can say the interaction between the biotic and abiotic component. That is why the ecosystem cannot be an answer. Next, we have the option population. As you know, the population is just a group of single type of species, but here we are talking about the different types of species. So the population option also get discarded, or we can say it is nullifies. Now the last says the ecological niche. The term is niche, and niche is only the place where functional interaction takes place. There is no habitat present, right? So the option C is also not there. So the option which is left here is the D, the biotic community. Okay. Okay, now move to the next question. The next question, question number 7 says, most animals are tree dwellers in a tree dwellers. That means they are staying on the tree. They survive on the tree. Okay, they can be found in temperate deciduous forest, tropical rainforest, coniferous forest, and the thorn wood land. So here is your poll for this question to give your answer. Okay, so what is your answer? Okay, so now I'm closing the poll. As you know, the tree dwellers are only found when the vegetation is very rich, right? When we have a dense vegetation. And among these four options, the densest vegetation is only found in the tropical rain forest, right? So yes, your answer is correct. Option B is the correct answer. Not the temperate, not the coniferous, and not on. Okay. The next question here is, just as a person moving from Delhi to Shimla, right? For example, you are moving from Delhi to Shimla to escape the heat of the duration of the hot summer. We are moving to Shimla because we are feeling that it is getting very warm. So we have to shift towards a polar place. That means we are doing the migration. So thousands of migratory birds from the Siberia and other extremely cold northern region move to. Right now, in the same way, the birds from the extreme colder region again move to the one place in an India, and that place is your option A, Western Ghat, B, Meghalaya, C, Corbett National Park, and D, the Kaleido National Park. The Jim Corbett National Park is present in Nainital. Yes, the correct answer for this question is the D, the Kaleido National Park. There we have the biggest bird sanctuary where the birds migrate from the extremely colder region to the warm regions. Okay. So next question for the day is, which one of the following is not a parasitic adaptation? Okay, here we are talking about the parasites. So to survive in a host, the parasite has to adapt according to some conditions, right? Your option A, development of adhesive organ. Option B, loss of digestive organs. Option C, loss of reproductive capacity. And D says the loss of unnecessary sense organs, right? So give your answer out of these four options, which one is correct? Okay, for that, I'm launching the poll. Okay, so the poll will remain for next 20 seconds. Give your answer as soon as possible. If you are unable to answer in poll, please give your answer in a chat box. Okay, next 5 seconds, I'm going to close the poll. Okay, so you have given the two options, right? You have chosen two options, the option C and D. So let's discuss which option is the correct answer among the four. As the option A says, the development of adhesive organ. This is required because the organism is a parasite. So it has to stick, it has to remain stick to the body of the host. So there is an requirement of adhesive organ. So it is a correct, but we have to find out the incorrect statement, right? Next question says the loss of digestive organ. Yes, because they are actually, they are sucking up, they are absorbing the digested nutrients, or we can say the simpler components from the body of host. So they doesn't require to break down them, right? And if they are not required to breaking down them, that means there is no requirement of digestive organ, right? The option C says loss of reproductive capacity. No, the parasite, whenever survives on the body of an host or in the body of an host, it keep on reproducing. for increasing the individuals, right? So the loss of reproductive capacity is the wrong statement. Okay, so we have found the wrong statement, but just let's get a look towards the last statement. The loss of unnecessary sense organ, right? Right, because when they get stick to the body of an host, they would not further require any sense organ to move here and there, right? So that is why loss of unnecessary sense organ is also a correct statement. So the only third option is incorrect. So yes, we can say it is the correct answer for the question. Okay, let's move to the next question of the day. That is of question number 10. The question number 10 says the benthic organisms are affected the most by. Now, here we are talking about all the organisms, the benthic, those who are living at the bed of the aquatic system, like river, lake, wherever they are present at the bed of those aquatic systems. Your option says option A is light reaching the forest floor, B, the aquatic turbulence of water. C, the sediment characteristic of aquatic ecosystem. And D, the water holding capacity of soil. So you can give your answer in chat box. I'm waiting for the next 30 seconds. Okay, give your answer. Try to give your answer. Okay, so as you know, the benthic organisms are found at the bed of the aquatic system. So option A and option D get eliminated automatically because they are talking about the forest floor and the soil, right? The last two options here we have the surface turbulence of water. That means the change in the surface water temperature or the movement. C, the sediment characteristic of aquatic system. See, as the organisms are present at the bed of the ecosystem, right? At the back at the bed of the aquatic system, so there is no effect of the surface water. With that, so the only option which is supporting our question is the sediment characteristic of aquatic ecosystem. That means how much sediments are producing, or we can say the how much eutrophication is done happening in the aquatic ecosystem. That will affect our benthic organisms. Okay, now move to the next question. That is question number 11. The people who have migrated from the plains to an area adjoining Rohtang Pass. See, the plains are the normal grasslands, right? And if we are talking to moving towards the Rohtang Pass, so it is a hilly region, high peak region, right? High peak area of the mountain region. About 6 months back. So according to you, what happened to the person? A, have more RBC and their hemoglobin has a low binding affinity to oxygen. B, are not physically fit to play games like football. C, suffers from altitude, sickness, and symptoms like nausea, fatigue, etc. Option D says have the usual RBC count, but their hemoglobin has very high binding affinity to oxygen. So here we are moving towards a height, right? So you have to find out your answer according to that. So out of these four options, which is will be your correct regarding when you are moving from plain to the higher regions, okay, the heighted region, the altitude. So according to you, what will happen there? Okay, so as you know, we are moving from plains to the heighted region. So as we moving from plain to the height, the pressure decreases, right? Everyone knows as we reaches to the height from sea, the pressure decreases. And when the pressure decreases, the air also decreases, right? So due to the presence of less air, the oxygen binding capacity of hemoglobin also decreases. But to compensate that requirement, to compensate that requirement of oxygen inside the body will start producing the high number of RBC. Okay, the body will start producing the high number of RBC. Okay, so according to that, we can say the option A is a correct answer, right? Because it is not like if we are moving towards the height, we are not able to play the football or any kind of game. That is incorrect statement. See, the sickness, the altitude sickness happens to every person who is moving from plain to the higher region, but that sickness lasts for 1 week, maximum 1 week. After that, we cannot see such effects because the person has already moved 6 months back. And the last, as I said, the hemoglobin binding capacity to oxygen decreases with increase of height. So the option D is also incorrect. Okay, so option A is the correct answer. Here, next question, the next question number 12 is saying the large woody vines are more commonly found in A, the temperate forest, B, mangroves, C, tropical rainforest, and D, alpine forest. Okay, the large woody vines are most commonly found in temperate regions, tropical rainforest, mangroves, and alpine forest. You have to give your answer in this poll. The poll will last for the 20 seconds. Okay, so as everyone has given their answer, okay. So yes, the answer is tropical rainforest again. Because we are talking about the largest woody vines. They can only be found when the adequate amounts of nutrients and the environment is present. Now we are moving towards the next question. The next question is saying, consider the following for conditions given in the four next statements, and you have to select the correct pair out of them regarded as the adaptation to environment in desert lizards, right? So here we are talking about the adaptations in the desert lizard. So obviously the condition is the xerophytic condition, right? So here the four options given here in the statements is option 1, the burrowing in soil to escape high temperature. Second, the losing heat rapidly from the body during the high temperature. Option 3, bask in sun when temperature is low. And D, the insulating body due to the thick fatty dermis. Okay, you have to find out two statements which are correct regarding the adaptations of the desert lizard. Okay, give your answer as fast as possible. Okay. So yes, as everyone has given their answer, the option B, because we know that they cannot lose their heat rapidly during the summer because the conditions are xerophytic, and for losing the heat, we have to sweat. But in the xerophytic condition, due to the scarcity of water, the body cannot lose the heat. So they have to make the burrows and uh, make themselves hide from the high temperature. And the insulation of the body with a thick fatty dermis is only possible for the colder region, because as you know, the fatty dermises always provide the insulation. It prevents the loss of heat. But here the condition is already very warm, right? So this fatty layer would also not help. So the answer is option B only. Next, your question number 14. The question number 14 says, the figure given below is a diagrammatic representation to the response of organism to the abiotic factor. Here we are discussing the response of organism to the abiotic factors, right? Now, we have to find out, according to this graph, which graph or which lane is showing or expressing which kind of organism. So given here are the 4 options. You have to find your correct answer, right? So I'm launching the poll, and for the poll will remain for 30 seconds. So try to give your answer in those 30 seconds. Okay. So here we are going to discuss the types of organisms regarding to the okay. Write the launch the correct answer. Okay, so as everyone has given the answer, as you can see, the straight line, the line which is parallel to the x-axis is showing there is no change in the internal condition of an organism, right? So we can say the first is a regulator, which is maintaining its body environmental condition. Okay, it is a regulator. The second, who is able to change the internal body conditions according to the outer environment. Those are known as conformers, right? And those who are able to change their body according to the environment for a small duration of time, then they start regulating that. Those are the partial regulators, right? So according to that, if we go, the first is regulator, the second is conformer, and the third is partial regulator. For this sequence, only option D is the correct answer. Okay. Here we have the next question. The next question says reduction in vascular tissue. Reduction in vascular tissue, mechanical tissue, and cuticle is characteristic of A, mesophytes, B, apophytes, C, hydrophytes, and D, xerophytes. So now you have to give your answer. In which kind of plants the vascular system deducted and the cuticles are formed? Okay. The last 10 seconds are left to give your answer. Right. So everyone has given the correct answer. These are the xerophytes, because when we have the high number of vascular tissue, the transpiration will take place most. So we have to reduce the transpiration level. For that, we require the presence of cuticles also, right, to prevent the water loss. So the option D is the correct answer for this question. Now, moving towards the next question, question number 16. Now consider the following 4 statements about the certain desert animal, such as kangaroo and rat. Okay, the 4 statements are here. They have the dark color and high rate of reproduction and excrete solid urine. Option B, they do not drink water, breathe at a slow rate to conserve water and have their body covered with thick hair. The next, they feed on the dry seeds and do not require drinking water. Option 4 says they excrete very concentrated urine and do not use the water to regulate the body temperature. Now you have to find out among these four which two statements are true. Okay, so for this, I'm launching the poll for the next 25 seconds. You have to give your answer through this poll. And if you're not accessible to the poll, you have to give your answer through the chat. Okay, so last 10 seconds are left. Give your answer. Okay. So we know about the kangaroos that they do not drink water. Instead, they go for the beta oxidation of the fats, right? They go for the beta oxidation of the fat in the Golgi body for the production of water in their body itself. So the option 3 is correct. And as you know, they are having the very less consumption of water. So they excrete the very concentrated urine and they never use the water to regulate their body temperature, as they are the desert animals, so there is a huge scarcity of the water. So among these four, the option statement 3 and 4 is correct, so we can go with the option C. Okay, so now the next question here is, the Quercus species are the dominant component in. You have to find out these Quercus are the dominant components in which area? A, the shrub forest. B, the tropical rainforest. C, are deep dwellers in sea. And D, are floating organisms. Okay, so how you have to give your answer as fast as possible. Okay, so answer for this question is the option C. Why the option C is the correct option? Because these Quercus species are commonly known as the oak trees, right? Because they are having the dominating that broadleaf structures, right? And they are found in the northern hemisphere. And these oak trees are mostly evergreen and dominatingly found in the areas where we have the warm summers and moderately cool winters. Okay, so this is only found in the area where we have the sea region, right? So that is why the option C is the correct answer. Okay, now we are moving to the next question, the question number 18. The question number 18 says niche overlaps indicate. When two niche overlaps together, they indicate what? Mutualism between two species, active cooperation between two species, two different parasites on the same host, and D, the sharing of one or more common resource between the two species. Regarding the same, we have also discussed the one question in the starting, right? If you remember that, you can give your answer as early as possible. So try to give your answer in the next 10 seconds. Okay, so yes, you have opted the correct answer. The niche overlapping indicates the sharing of one or more resources between the two species. Okay, so the next question is, people living at sea level have around 5 billion RBC. जो sea level पे रहते हैं, they are having 5 billion RBCs per cubic millimeter. And those who are living at the altitude, that means height, the RBC level has increased to 8 million, right? Initially it was 3-5 million, now it become 8 billion. That is 3 billion RBCs has increased. This is because at high altitude, option A, the people eat more nutritive food, therefore more RBCs are formed. The people get pollution-free air to breathe and more oxygen is available. Option C, atmospheric oxygen level is less and hence the more RBCs are needed to absorb the required amount of oxygen to survive. And option D says there is more UV radiation which enhances the RBC production. Okay, so feed your answer in this poll. You have 20 seconds. Next 20 seconds will be given to you to feed your answers. Okay, so find out the reason. We have already discussed the reason in the previous questions why the RBC count of a person increases when it moves from the plain to the high altitude region. Yes. So we can say, yes, the answer is C, because we have discussed it earlier also that the atmospheric oxygen level decreases due to the increasing height as the pressure decreases, due to which we require the more RBCs to absorb that particular amount of oxygen. As with the height, hemoglobin oxygen binding capacity also decreases. So that is why the RBC count is increasing in a people living at the high altitude. Now moving towards the next question. The next question says annual migration does not occur in the case of. That means the organism. You have to find out the organism which moves or migrate once in the life or one in a year. So option A, Arctic tern, B, salmon, and C, Siberian crane. Now, and the last option D is salamander. You have to choose among these four which are not, which animal is not going for the annual migration. So we are giving you the poll with the 15-second timer. You have to give your answer. If you are not accessible to the poll, please give your answer through the chat box. So among these four, Arctic tern, salmon, Siberian crane, and salamander, which animal is not having the annual migration? Okay, so as everyone has given the answer, yes, the answer is D. Option D, that is salamander. Okay. Next question, question number 21. The praying mantis is a good example of. The praying mantis is a good example of You have to give your answer, your option. A, the camouflage. B, Mullerian mimicry. C, bonding coloration. And the D, social insect. Okay, so you have to find the correct answer. We know these praying mantis, right? These praying mantics are the preys which are present on the tree bark, right? These are the moths. We have discussed about them in the evolution chapter. They are the moth. So they are the good example of what? Camouflage, Mullerian mimicry, warning coloration, or the social interaction. According to you, what is the correct answer? Right. The correct answer is option A, the camouflage. We know when they set on the tree bark, right? Whenever they set on the tree bark, the dark color of the praying mantis get camouflaged with the dark color of the tree bark, so that they get a protection from their predators. Okay. The next question for today: more than 70% of the world's fresh water is contained in. As we know, 70% of the fresh water is present in the form of A, polar ice, B, glaciers and mountains, C, Antarctica, and D, Greenland. We know the 100% water which is present on the earth is distributed into two categories, right? 70% and the 30%. 30% is present in the liquid form throughout the earth, right? As a river, ocean, sea, and the lakes. Rest the 70% which is present in the form of ice, or we can say the glacier, the big ice mountains. So for that, the option is B, the glaciers and the mountains. Okay, so the next question for the day, it says at which latitude heat gain through the insolation approximately equal the heat loss through the terrestrial radiation. So here we are saying the heat gain is equal to the heat loss. Okay, so as we know, around the equator, the heat loss is more, right? And as we move towards the poles, at the poles, the heat loss is further very high. So what is the correct position on the earth where we have the equal amount of heat gain and heat loss? Right. So the answer is option B, 40 degrees north and the south. This is the place where we have the moderate temperature. The equal amount of heat loss and the heat gain is possible. Okay. So last second question for the today. Animals have the innate ability to escape from the predation. Example for the same are given below. Select the correct example. The color change in chameleon, enlargement of body size by swallowing air in the pufferfish, poison fangs in snakes, and melanism in moth. So you have to find out the correct answer through which we can say, incorrect answer through which we can say which is not a correct answer for preventing themselves or escaping themselves from the predation. So four options are in front of you. You have to choose the correct one. Camouflage, change in color, that means camouflage. The enlargement of size. Whenever the predator comes in contact with a pufferfish always swallows the air and make it puff like a balloon, right? Due to which the spikes which are present on the body of the fish appears or they get protruded. The C, the poison fangs in snake, which is a Wrong, because these poison fangs of the snake are used as a predator's weapon on the prey. So the option C is a incorrect example. And here is the last question for the day. Which of the following pair is mismatched? Out of the given pair, which of the following pair is mismatched? Option A, tundra, permafrost. B, savanna, acacia trees. Perriari, that is epiphytes. And the last, coniferous forest, that is evergreen trees. So you have to give your answer. So we are giving you only the next 12 seconds. You have to find which is the incorrect answer, mismatching here. So for this, answer is option C. Yes, those who have given the option C is the correct answer. So here we are ending our today's session. We'll meet tomorrow with the previous year questions of the next chapter. Okay. So this is all for today. Please give your feedback through this NPS poll, and after giving your feedback, you can leave the class. Okay, thanks for your precious feedback. We'll meet tomorrow with the new chapters previous